Welcome back, trainers, to Houston, Texas, where we have our regional championships, and we are in day 2. We are having such a beautiful time. The sun is shining. We're here. We're in our element. We're having a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. Moisturized, flourishing in our lane, thriving, I would say. And we're gonna keep the action going, everybody, because we're gonna see Jello Too Good facing off against GoLeagueGregg, two very talented trainers. And we've seen the Dune Bugs, we've seen the Rises and the Accents. How about some trainers that are carving out their own names in Championship Series history? That's Jello and GoLeagueGregg, and they're doing it with the powerful picks of Chargebug and Clefable.
Yeah, I mean, these are definitely Pokemon that are a little bit off kilter, but I wouldn't say they're not meta eligible. They're definitely on the fringe, though. They're on the edges. And we're seeing here also a Stunfisk, one of my favorites. We're seeing that Chargebug. We're seeing the Guzzlord. We're seeing the Corviknight, a different steel type than the usual Fortress. But actually, both the trainers are ready to go. They're locked in. So we're going to get started right away into Game 1. Speedy, take it away.
Stunfisk looked insane for Greg in this matchup, and I think he realizes that leading his best Pokemon in this battle number 1 on loser's side bracket. It's leading into the Wigglytuff, though. That Icy Wind will be super effective, but the pacing advantage has got to be on the right side of the screen.
Yeah, getting to this charge attack right before that Icy Wind is eligible to be thrown is always a great play. You want to throw your charge attacks before you get your attack drop, and it is a super effective Icy Wind incoming.
I wonder if Greg, okay, actually forgoes the shield here to start up the battle. A lot of the time when a trainer recognizes they have one Pokemon that really stands out in a matchup, they're more willing to protect shielded. But we saw Greg in day number 1 lean on that Annihilate as well. Don't forget about that Pokemon. He might do that in this series too.
Yeah, I'm thinking GoLeagueGregg might be able to get to another charge attack on good timing just before the charm was going to be enough to knock out, but we see a switch out from Jello catching the Mud Bomb. This is a debuffed Mud Bomb, so it's not going to do that much damage.
Decision point for Greg. Does he bring in the Clefable or the Annihilate? Actually goes with the Annihilate, which is good news for Jello. I'm sure he's happy to see this Pokemon here instead of against his Empoleon.
Absolutely, and now we're going to see the Clefable in the back. This could spell disaster for Greg, but first we have to see this matchup play out. We are going to see the Rage Fist getting queued up and going to be thrown into the Quagsire. Jello Too Good probably knows this is going to not be just enough to knock out, so doesn't shield that up and is still able to get to this Aqua Tail.
I mean, Quagsire is already a formidable pick. It's all over the top usage charts, but Quagsire with energy is intimidating as heck. And now we see the pivot into the Wigglytuff and the Swift in kind. This is going to be double resisted. If Greg no shields, I think he can hang on.
I agree. This is definitely not going to be a knockout. It's going to just tickle that Annihilate. And we see an immediate switch out. I love this pivot because now you can get a ton of energy with that Fairy Wind. It's going to just be able to... and the Swift is not able to be reached, but now we see the Empoleon. So now this is a really tough situation for the Clefable. It's going to be an uphill battle, but it's got its work cut out for it.
What do you think of the Meteor Mash here? I mean, there's a chance that the Moonblast will actually drop the Empoleon's attack, but do you think that 3 Meteor Mashes is the more efficient play?
I think that the Moonblast is more the efficient play. I thought grabbing the shield there was a huge play from Greg, but going for the Meteor Mash, this is double resisted by both the water and the steel typing of the Empoleon. And now Empoleon can kind of just chill and farm up as much energy as it wants.
Yeah, I think that's got to be a huge concern. Greg got a massive farm down on the opposing Wigglytuff, but this Clefable energy is going nowhere because Empoleon just bounces it right back. Gonna go for the Hydro Cannon here. He's got 2 charge attacks loaded. Greg is gonna give up this Unova Stunfisk.
Yeah, I think Greg is just banking on the fact that the Annihilate might be able to do enough fast attack pressure to be able to punish this Empoleon, but it's going to be really tough. The Empoleon has so much energy and so much health remaining.
We've seen Jello Too Good switching in Pokemon, and then GoLeagueGregg does it in kind, just trying to throw out some Pokemon, get some damage on the board, and he's going to pull away that final protection with the Rage Fist. But the questions start, can he get to another one?
I don't know. It's going to be really, really close. That Metal Sound just does so much damage. Actually going for the charge attack here might allow the Annihilate to get to that last second Rage Fist to be able to punish this Empoleon.
You can either get a fast attack or a charge attack, but you cannot have both. In comes the Quagsire.
Oh my goodness!
Committing to the win condition, farms down the Quagsire, doesn't blink. And the Hydro Cannon gets fired off.
This is crazy. This is back and forth. Last second, Hydro Cannon is going to be just enough to knock out the Empoleon on the charge attack priority. And now you could just farm down with the Metal Sounds. Huge win for Jello Too Good. Empoleon pulling its weight.
That's absolutely wild because we saw the charge attack energy on the Annihilate as well as the Empoleon, but Jello Too Good pulls it out in the end.
Yeah, I think because Annihilate is a little bit bulkier than you might expect, and Empoleon is more attack-weighted than you might expect, it's able to win that charge attack priority. Maybe not all the time, but in this case, it was able to do that and able to take that win for Jello.
It's one of those that is very, very case-specific. Depending on which Piplup you catch or which Mankey you capture and power up, it can really determine that matchup. So this is an interesting tech from Jello Too Good. Maybe he knew he wanted his Empoleon to win those exchanges every time.
Yeah, and what's interesting is those Pokemon get the charge attack very quickly and very congruently. So because of that energy disparity, you can't really switch in Annihilate into an Empoleon now, knowing that matchup is not as cut and dry as you might expect.
That's such a valuable piece of information. I'm sure that Greg is going to keep that in mind as you move into battle number 2. I want to remind everybody, because we bounce around a lot in the bracket, and I think that Pokemon Go is the only bracket here this weekend that is double elimination. We're on the loser's side. So if Greg loses this next battle, his run in Houston is over. He's got to figure out a way to fight his way back into the series, tie it up, and then see where he can go from there.
Yeah, it's a really tough scene for Greg here, but he can hang on and buckle on his bootstraps and, you know, ride that horse into the sunset if he so chooses, and if he gets the right situation here. We are riding into game number 2 with the Wigglytuff versus the Empoleon.
And this lead is the perfect way to spur that journey along, because the steel typing is going to be great for him. We see the instant pivot into the Quagsire. GoLeagueGregg goes for his trusty Annihilate.
Yeah, Annihilate is a really good answer into the Quagsire because it's able to tank with those Aqua Tails relatively well and fire back with boosted Rage Fist or close combats.
Exactly right. Rage Fist numero uno gets queued up here from the Annihilate. This is going to deal a little bit of damage into the Quagsire, but no threat as Jello forgoes the shield almost immediately, and he realizes he will get to the next Aqua Tail fast, and he's got time to spare.
Yeah, it's fast and furious. These Aqua Tails are getting fired off back to back to back, but Annihilate is able to utilize that shield effectively and potentially overfarm to get a little bit more energy for that next matchup, whether it's the Wigglytuff or something else in the back.
Keeping up the pressure, GoLeagueGregg attempts another Rage Fist, and we get a Shield in Kind from Jello Too Good, but the pacing is still on the Quagsire side.
Yeah, this is really tough because you don't want to just allow switch advantage to go back into the favor of Jello, because you know you have that Empoleon versus the Fairy type in the back, and now you can actually get even more ramped up energy, and you see a switch out right away into the Empoleon. I love this play because now you have the Clefable in the back to be able to Meteor Mash the potential Wigglytuff as well.
Almost a close combat loaded on the Annihilate, and Greg is able to save that Pokemon and its energy with the switch out. Like you said, very heads up play, recognizing the position that he's in. Does go for the Hydro Cannon on charge attack priority, and Jello, his Empoleon, takes this one as well.
Yeah, I love that when you're able to recognize that you got switch advantage, but you can give it up in order to have a better matchup in the back. That is a heads up, huge play, 10 head from Greg.
Think about it as well. With the Empoleon on the field here, Jello knows that this is the hardest counter to his Wigglytuff, so he's going to allow the Hydro Cannon through, go for his own charge attack again on charge attack priority, and save that final Protect Shield for his Charmer.
One thing to recognize is Jello Too Good has consistently gone for the charge attack priorities with that Empoleon, knowing that it might be just a little bit more attack weighted than people might think.
Whoa, actually sends in the Annihilate and then fast pivots out into the Clefable, but this is the power of the Clefable with the Meteor Mash. The Charm does leak through, however, this is going to command that last Protect Shield from Jello Too Good and start to open the door to either another Meteor Mash or even an Annihilate close combat.
Yeah, I think this is a huge play. This Icy Wind will definitely allow the Wigglytuff to survive that next Meteor Mash, but like you said, that close combat is waiting in the wings, so it really just depends on how much health is going to be remaining on that Annihilate when that Empoleon comes back in, and is Empoleon going to get to that charge attack? We'll have to see and find out.
Oh, the question actually becomes in my mind if the Rage Fist will be enough, because this Wigglytuff is really weak and you need a little energy to carry over. Goes for the Rage Fist, double resisted. This is the first stage, it's not boosted at all. Will it be enough?
This is really, really close. I think it's going to be just enough, and it knocks out the Wigglytuff. Now it comes down to Annihilate versus that Empoleon, and you're able to low kick down. Huge, huge win from Annihilate, fighting back into this set.
Backed into a corner, Greg releases his rage to tie up the series here 1-1 in Houston, staying alive in the bracket.
That was beautifully done. I really like what he was able to do and kind of utilize that Empoleon as a safe switch once he realized that the the quick Quagsire was gone on the opposing side, he was able to just switch in the Empoleon, not have to worry about anything, and take that game number 2.
The key moment for me was bailing out the Annihilate after he was weakened and saving all that energy, because we saw Jello come back in with the Wigglytuff, and then Greg reached right here. Actually, oh my goodness. Great replays. Greg reaches for the Clefable, bails out that Annihilate, not once, but twice in that battle, and that energy at the end was the key.
Yeah, and getting that that last second knockout with the Rage Fist into that Wigglytuff, huge play, because that was not a guaranteed knockout. And then from there, you had those boosted low kicks to be able to do super effective damage into that Empoleon and take the win.
This is a pivotal battle for two trainers that are completing their best championship series runs in their competitive careers. Jello has seen the ups and the downs. It's been tough, but it's also been joyous. We're going to see how this battle number 3 goes. One of these trainers is about to be eliminated.
Here we go. Decisive game number 3. Winner moves on. Loser goes home. Here's the Annihilate into the Wigglytuff. We see an immediate safe switch into the Ferret. I really like this because there's no immediate answer on the team of 6 for Jello. Bringing out the Ferret at the last second, but getting a charm through.
And that's the thing, right? Jello looks at the team from GoLeagueGregg and he says, if you don't lead Empoleon, you really can't answer my Wigglytuff straight up. So I'm just going to go and play the numbers here. Wigglytuff reaching the Icy Wind versus the Ferret. The Sucker Punch is not doing much. This is going to start to add up.
Yeah, Ferret getting the cold shoulder here, lowering its attack, getting to that Swift just before it's getting knocked out from these charms. The charm still does a ton of damage. This Swift is going to be reduced damage, so it's not going to do as much as the last one. And we see the Wigglytuff definitely hang on there, and now is able to just charm down the Ferret.
Top usage Pokemon in Houston. Wigglytuff looks as dominant as ever, and with not a lot of great options, Greg is going to have to reveal his 3rd Pokemon here, right?
Absolutely, but we see there's no Empoleon waiting in the wings for this Fairy type in the back. And we actually see a Swift here instead of the guaranteed debuff with Icy Wind. Swift, I believe, does more damage, so that is probably why Jello went for the Swift here, trying to get as much damage as possible on to this Pokemon before the Wigglytuff goes down. And now you have a decision to make. In comes the Quagsire. We see an immediate swap into the Charjabug and met in kind by the Annihilate.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Annihilate doesn't have a great typing matchup fighting into Bug Electric, but it's got Protect Shields, and behind those shields, it can ramp up these Rage Fists and start to apply pressure. There is still a win condition here for GoLeagueGregg, but he's got to be very careful about managing this Ghost and Fighting type.
Yeah, I really like the shield on the side of Greg, because if you take that discharge damage, then you're in a potential situation where the Charjabug could just double shield and you could get Volt Switch down, and then you're left with just Clefable. So huge play there, going for the Rage Fist, boosting the attack again. We see another shield on the side of the Charjabug.
Yeah, this is a war of attrition between two Pokemon that do not want to budge, but one of them will eventually give in. Discharge number 2 gets shielded up. This is a great shield call as well. GoLeagueGregg recognizes this is the pressure point, the pivot point of this entire battle.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see another Rage Fist coming through, throwing basically right away, getting that extra counter or low kick through to make sure that the damage does not register from that voltage. And now we're going to see a race to the charge move. Obviously, the Quagsire is going to win that charge attack or the charge move pacing, because it's only 4.
Yeah, exactly. Annihilate did a great job there, but now it all comes down to Clefable, and I don't think there's enough time to get to 2 Moonblasts. This might be a bait scenario for the win. GoLeagueGregg YOLOs the Moonblast, and the shield goes up.
There is one chance. The attack drop from the Moonblast might allow Clefable to survive. No attack drop, and now here comes the Aqua Tail. Can Clefable survive, or is Quagsire's oppressive Aqua Tail too much? And we see the Aqua Tail come through. It survives, but can you get to another move? No! The Mudshots come through, and Quagsire takes game number 3.
Down goes Clefable, down goes GoLeagueGregg, and Jello Too Good with the fist pump stays alive in the loser's side bracket.
Oh, well done by Jello Too Good. Obviously, very disheartened by that loss from Dunebug 97 earlier, but you see him bounce back, and that's the beauty of this game, is you always have another chance to come back and win and showcase your prowess, and that's exactly what Jello Too Good just did.
I really appreciate the emotions that we see on stage. We had Greg wink at the camera yesterday. We had Jello Too Good. You could see it, the ups, the downs. His emotions are on his sleeves at all times, and it looks like here Jello, moving on through the bracket, will get another chance to show us what he's made of. And GoLeagueGregg, I'm telling you, has to feel very accomplished. I mean, first event, coming out here into Top Cut in Houston, losers round 2. You've got so many talented trainers walking around, and GoLeagueGregg proved that he stands right next to them.
Yeah, I think what Jello Too Good did so well in that last match was bring the Empoleon in the first 2 games and kind of bait your opponent into consistently bringing that Annihilate.
Yeah.
And then in game 3 was ABA strong to it. So he had the Wigglytuff in the lead, and then also the Charjabug in the back, and the Quagsire in the middle. Like, there was nowhere for Annihilate to really go, right? So it allowed Jello to kind of play 2 against 3 in that match.
I think that Pokemon Go is a very prediction-heavy game, especially compared to the trading card and video game, and playing the odds, right? Looking at your Wigglytuff as Jello and saying, the only bad scenario truly is if I see Empoleon in the lead, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick my most powerful Pokemon, and I'll put it in the lead. I'll try to see how much headway I can make, and then the rest of my team will supplement and support it along the way. And I think that's exactly what Jello did there. And without the Empoleon lead, or even the Clefable lead,
yeah.
I mean, Greg was just at such a disadvantage as soon as the battle began.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of being able to adapt and fight through these different matchups, is that you can kind of counter pick and counter adjust as the match goes on, right? So as these games get tighter and tighter, it's those little small margins that make the difference between a win and a loss. It's not always before the battle, it's not always during the battle, it's a combination of both.